I'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. What is a quorum? Is it three? Four? Is John there? John? I see you. Can you see him there?
I see his name, but not
I
here.
don't see his name. There he is. Can you hear us, John? John, can you hear me? I can't hear you yet. Give me the peace sign if you can hear me. Hey. Is it good now? No?
Oh. Everything was working. I checked it before we got going.
Give me a test, John. No. Talk. No, we do. No. We can't hear you. Could he be muted from his end? Is there somewhere you're muting yourself over there? Should I try calling back one more time?
Just you want to log out to a login book.
He's gonna
Yeah,
log out.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
That's what he said.
Scott Keith. Scott Keith. Who's-
He's a resident of,
Oh.
Bonnie got
He's not a resident, he's a
From
property.
Python,
Oh, okay.
also Pilot.
He was like the driving force behind the anti-short-term rental thing.
Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello, John, can you hear us?
John, can you hear me? Give me the peace sign again if you can hear me. Okay, we can't hear you.
Okay, we'll just have to go.
So he's gonna have to use the comment section if he doesn't.
See if Scott can hear. Scott, can you try your microphone for us, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
All right, we can hear Scott. We just can't hear John. Okay, so,
John wants to add something, he should use the chat box, that way we can see
yeah,
it if he has something to say.
okay, we'll watch for a chat box for you, John, okay? Because we can't hear you. So adjustments to the schedule, agenda?
None.
No, okay. Review of the meeting, last meeting's minutes?
I'd make a motion, we accept the minutes from February 26th.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
That's four.
That's four. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't look at John. Did he wave?
Yes.
Excellent. Public to speak on a non-agenda item? Is Keith going to speak? Anyone here to speak? Scott, no? Okay. No one here to speak. Correspondence to be read into the order, the record?
I have none.
You have none? Reports of the commission? Is that you also?
That's you folks.
That's us?
Yep.
We have no reports? We have no reports? Reports of the airport manager.
That's me.
That is you.
One of the things I wanted to follow up on since your last meeting, I've had some correspondence with FAA and Maine DOT about the upcoming eclipse. My plan for that is to make sure that the airport grounds are closed to pedestrians and sightseers. People won't be able to be there unless they fly in. And then in terms of aircraft, I have requested information on making it a prior approval required situation. It's like a reservation scenario. So all I'm waiting for there, actually, that's cleared compliance FAA. All I'm waiting for is some language from the NOTAM folks about what that should look like. And as soon as I have that, I'm gonna put that up, post that so that folks know. I have had 2 calls so far from pilots out of state, both of them asking, and I said, well, I've got you on the list, let me make sure I get this situated. And just the rationale for that is I don't want it to be congested. We do have a lot of folks flying in last minute. I want it to be available in case we need to use air ambulance, the plane. So there are other plans in town for non-airport facilities. We're expecting, if the weather's decent, we're expecting an influx of folks on the 8th. So just wanted to give you that update. That is my plan, to have it be prior permission required to land and park that day unless it's an emergency.
And how many spots are there?
11, I believe.
11?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So we're just gonna keep it at 11?
That's my plan.
And we hit 11, just,
Yeah, that's my plan. If it were August and everything was dry and
Right.
mowed and all that stuff, maybe I would be willing to do something different, but with mud and now snowbanks.
so,
So
So you're gonna NOTAM it, and is Boston Center gonna be aware of it, or?
they would be, yes.
And how much notice do they need?
That I don't
If they
know.
call the morning of the 8th and you don't have,
Oh, no,
if you have 8 slots and you have enough room for 2 more, I mean, are they allowed in, or what's the time frame?
I'm sure that'd probably be in the,
that'll be me that makes that
Right,
decision.
and that's what I'm asking.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine right up until that day,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. But the notice will be checked prior to landing, right?
Okay. Usually,
And if I could post that sooner than later, folks will have some
Yeah,
advance.
yeah,
notice.
Mark had brought that up to me about, having a list and. I think
Yeah, that was just
It's a good idea.
you were asking what do we want to do, and I just suggested, maybe a reservation type thing would be the way to do it. When the spots are filled up, they're filled up.
now what are they doing in Carabasset? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I had a question from the manager over there a couple of weeks ago while I was still trying to figure out what we were gonna do here, and I haven't heard back. They were exploring it last I knew.
Is their town manager also the airport manager?
No.
Or is it,
No, I don't remember his name, but it's a different person.
it's not Dave?
No, it's not Dave, it's Tom, I think.
Anything else?
I think that's the most important thing. I should update you that originally I had hoped to come to you and tell you that the trees at 32N were done.
All right.
They had it scheduled for the 15th. They ran into some issues with the stormy weather that weekend. The snow date or rain date was today. I didn't hear from anybody. I don't know if it got done today or not, but I'll be following up with him on that. So I think those are the only pending issues, other than I have been in contact with the electrician. He's gonna start poking away at those items that we noted last time on the report, the lighting and other issues. So, and we spoke when the snow had pretty much melted, so I don't know how far we got before it snowed again. And I guess one other thing this week related to that, Alan Lambert, who is the director of the Maine DOT aviation section, is gonna come up and view the airport with me. Anybody wants to be there when we meet, as long as it's not a quorum, we can get together at 1:30. We're gonna meet here at 1:30 and go to the airport.
What day is this?
Thursday?
This
The
Thursday?
28th.
You're gonna look at the condition of the runway?
He just wants to see the airport. It's one of the few in Maine he hasn't been to, so.
What time are you gonna meet here?
We'll meet here at 1:30. So you're welcome to tag along if you like. He doesn't know I invited you, but I'm sure he'll be fine with it. I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, any old business?
I don't have any.
Might be the trees being postponed.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'd be surprised if we got to them today, based on the snow.
Yeah, it's a lot of statewide, a lot of tree issues.
right. New business, airport commission bylaws. And that is brought up because,
so prior to the last board of selectmen meeting, we received an application for membership to the commission. It was placed on the board agenda. It generated some questions. I had one of the members of this commission visit me, and during the meeting,
that's John. Does he have a comment written there? Oh,
sorry about that, I'm looking the other way.
sorry.
Can you participate with telephone? Yes, absolutely. I don't know the phone number offhand. Let me.
Let me call my number.
I just let another John in. John, is that you?
Say what, John, just call my phone number. Put it on speaker.
I can't wait to come.
Thank you. Wait, too small.
Oh, he's here twice.
Oh,
And how about now?
There we go.
we can hear you now.
All right, good. All right, I've logged out of the computer and I put it on my phone for whatever reason. I don't know why, but the computer wasn't working. So I guess I'll stay here on the telephone.
Okay, you're loud and clear.
All right, great. Thank you, guys.
You were
Does
saying,
he need the backup line? Does he need the backup on, the agenda that we just covered?
could you hear everything we were talking about, John?
I was a little distracted. Could you go back a little bit?
Back to the airport or the walkabout or,
I guess the new business, maybe about 3 minutes prior.
the new business airport commission bylaws, he was just, Joe was just starting to talk about that, really.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, let's pick up there.
Okay,
Okay, so there was an application presented for membership to the commission. It was on the board of selectmen's agenda. One of the members one of the airport commission members came to see me and gave me some history on the application process in years past. During the public portion of the board meeting, there were questions about, from one board member about the jurisdiction, I think was one of the questions, and then the process for getting folks onto this commission. So what the guidance was, have this commission, which I agree with, have the commission look at the bylaws, and maybe there's some background that some of the folks who've been on the commission for a while can give us about the process, how the process historically was onto the commission. So the bylaws in one of the sections talk about the commission making the vote prior to it going to the board of selectmen. I think that's part of what the confusion is. And then the word jurisdiction comes in there too.
Yep, page 3, looks like item B3. Do we have vacancies on the board, or do we have?
You have one. We do not have any alternates. Presently.
I have a little historical background.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I've been on the airport commission for, I think, 28 or 29 years now, and back in 2013, it's actually the same date, Monday, March 25th, 2013, minutes from the Rangeley Airport Commission. I was the chairman, Larry was vice chairman, Dale Quimby was on, Kevin Sinnott, and so we had 2 applicants, and then Tiki White was the airport manager. Noted both applicants had heard the airport commission was looking for members advertised on the local radio station. She explained, according to the bylaws, the airport commission was a 9-member board, of which 7 were full-time and 2 were alternate. Ms. White questioned the residency requirement as in Article 2, Section 1 of the bylaws. And so we talked about that because it wasn't real clear, but see, if you moved from the jurisdiction, you vacated your seat on the airport commission.
Exactly.
So we felt that implied, and at that time, the general understanding was that the jurisdiction was the town of Rangeley. It's Rangeley Airport, it needed to be a Rangeley resident to be on. So we had 2 applicants, Perry Williams, who lived in Rangeley, and David Grant, who lived in the plantation. And the way this ended up going, we talked about revisiting the bylaws, and at that time, they would have been like 16 years old. They were 97, this was 2013. And now it's, another 11 years since then, but we thought we'd revisit the bylaws and go through. But anyway, here's what ended up happening. Mr. Grant and Mr. Williams gave a brief history of their backgrounds. Motion, Mr. Coop to forward the request for appointment of Mr. Perry to the Board of Selectmen for appointment, because he was a Rangeley resident. And to hold on to Mr. David Grant's request for adjustment until the bylaws were completely amended. Second, Mr. Quimby, and had a vote on that. So it never went forward. There was the following meeting, there was a motion to stop working on doing the revisiting the bylaws and going through it. And there was even a suggestion of going from a 7-member board to a 5-member board. And that was kind of it wasn't a proper vote because there were only 3 of us there. There wasn't a quorum. It was Larry, me, and Dale Quimby. And we voted that we thought, a 5-member board might make more sense. But but that vote, like I say, it wasn't proper. It didn't hold any water because, and it never went anywhere. But I think the time has come, since 97 to now, 27 years, that we should probably take a pause and make that one of our tasks, to go through the bylaws and update it before we do anything else. But that would be my suggestion.
Well, I would think this is something we should probably have, like, maybe not a committee, but a couple of us that we get together and talk about this and going over bylaws
Right,
before a meeting and then bringing it to the meeting.
right. Make some drafts, mark them up, and
That's
then
what we're talking about.
make them an agenda item, and then exchange ideas and things like that. See what we got for common ground, and so you want me to make a motion? I'll make a motion that the airport commission.
Well, let's consider some other options about this, Mark. Like, for instance, I propose that maybe while we're updating these bylaws, we should probably put some language in there that individuals seated on the board shall have either an occupation in the aviation industry or perhaps a pilot's license in order to be involved on the board. What do you think about adding some language in there about that?
That's come up in the past also, and
Yeah.
the town didn't want the airport commission to be a bunch of all pilots. They wanted a certain amount of representation from the non-flying community, because it's a piece of town infrastructure and that the taxpayers support, and thought there should be a mix, not exclusively pilots.
No, maybe their stand on that has changed.
Well, I think at this point, John, I think we're just talking about like having some discussion about what we want to change it to, you know, and come up with some sort of a document edits or whatever. We can all submit what we think maybe we should be doing, you know, whether it's, you have to be a resident, you don't have to be a resident.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but how does this work, I guess is my question. What we do is we create our own bylaws and then we submit it to the Board of Selectmen for approval. Is that a correct statement?
Well, I think you interrupted me first of all, John. I was speaking, I had the floor, and that's okay. I think we, as I was trying to explain to Jim, I think if the members went through and made some notes for discussion, we could go there. And I have to point out, you know, absolutely nothing personal, John, but you're the first non-resident that's ever been appointed to the airport commission in the 28 or 29 years that I've been on here. And that wasn't, like, as I mentioned earlier, it wasn't spelled out clearly, but the sentiment was that jurisdiction meant the town of Rangeley and you needed to be a resident to do that. That's what it was in the past.
Wasn't
So,
Perry Williams a member?
but he lived in Rangeley before he bought Mrs. Noy's house and moved around the lake. He was living in Rangeley at the time. Okay, we gotta,
So anyway, back to the point that we're gonna try to get together and how we're gonna do this, now who's gonna meet, who's gonna put in.
let's have to put it on the next agenda.
Why don't we,
Discussion of the bylaw.
why don't we meet an hour prior to the meeting and work through a workshop first?
Yeah,
I think that would make more sense. I agree, I think it hasn't been amended since 2000. So we're going on 23 years since it's been amended. Let's go through them, let's look at the language. It never hurts to update bylaws.
do you have time to do that, John? Joe, before?
Yeah.
meeting? John, well, not John, but Joe, do you have like, we're gonna do a workshop before our next meeting?
Yes.
When is that?
It's like April 29th.
April 29th? I'll be here. Can we do that?
I'm okay with that. I just do want to point out that there was a motion somewhere in that conversation. I didn't know.
Yeah,
How I should mark that in the minutes.
Yeah, Mark started with a motion.
Yeah, I was just trying to make a motion that the airport commission stop reviewing the bylaws and making notes for future discussion.
And how about, can you add that we meet as an hour before the next meeting for a workshop to do that?
Sure. And we'll schedule,
Because otherwise,
Doing it during.
and we'll schedule our first discussion on an hour before our regularly scheduled April 29th meeting.
Yes. I'll second that.
any discussion on that? All right, let's vote.
Well, I'll go along with that.
Say again, John?
I'll go along with that. I'll go to the meeting, yes. Workshop,
All right,
yes,
so let's vote then, all in favor?
in favor.
Okay, any other new business? No? announcements, next meeting, the 29th, we'll meet an hour before. So entertain a motion to adjourn, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second,
second it, yeah.
all in favor?
Right.
And then
It was- It did run long, this meeting. It went
That was
almost
long.
30, almost 35
Well, it
minutes.
was John, it was your, your
my technical failure.